Hello from Southern California. This is the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we bring you the new and old school insight into the business of selling cars and service so you have the foresight to grow your dealership and stay ahead of the competition. I'm Kelly Kleinman, and here is our show.
Hello, Kelly Kleinman, Dealership News. This is our podcast. Today we get to introduce one of our newest automotive vloggers. He is the executive GM of Lexus of Milwaukee, and he's been in the business for a couple decades now. He's part of the Napleton Automotive Group. You probably know him, and if you do, you love him. Dan the Iceman Kommeth is in the house. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Kelly. Glad to be here.
Cue special effects, oh, by the way. Well, the subject of the day is going to be vendor selection and what an experienced GM looks for when they go shopping, and then how they rate them after they've bought into that vendor. But first of all, tell the good people why you're the perfect blogging fit for Dealership News. Start with your major in college. As part of the Red Hawk Nation, you went to the Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, thank you. My major was in English and journalism. So when I was looking for a job, when I was about to exit school, I realized that those fields didn't pay any money. So it was fairly important. But no, I thought I could get into PR. And so I started sending my resume out to PR firms. And I don't know if it's good, if I should admit that, that it was the only one or not, but Cadillac Motor Car Division answered me back, and they interviewed me for a PR job. And the PR director, I can still remember him saying, after like a 2-hour interview, he said, "Dan, you'd be terrible for the PR business." I'm like, "What? Why did he waste my time?" But he said, "But you'd be perfect for our management trainee program." So I started working for General Motors and spent a few years there on the corporate side, and then had the opportunity to join the retail side with Lexus back in 1999. Mm-hmm. And I leaped at the chance and haven't looked back. So it's been a nice ride with Lexus for the last 20 plus years.
Well, tell me about the dealership group you currently work with. How many stores do they have, brands, cities that you guys serve?
Yeah, Napleton, I mean, it's just huge. My partner, Ed Napleton, he's a Chicago guy. He's been in the business for a number of years, and I think it's right around 50 dealerships that he has now. And really, it spans everything from Aston Martin, Lexus, Mercedes, BMW, all the way to Chevrolet, Kia, Hyundai, really, everything you can possibly imagine, Toyota, sure. Honda and stuff. Yeah. So really spans the gamut, and we're Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Indiana. So really, far-reaching brands, and it's interesting to be part of such a large group.
Well, being a huge, James Bond fan, you tickled my fancy when you mentioned Aston Martin, which I'd like to have it one of these days. Maybe we could work out a deal. Yeah, right. I won't hold my breath. So let's get kind of into the brass tacks and everything like that, because you're used to bringing on vendors and working with vendors. You've been doing it for a long time. So when you're looking for a vendor, say you're not getting the performance you want, let's say from your current HR software, and wanted a better overall solution, maybe better bang for the buck, better customer service. How do you find vendor prospects, and what does the checklist look like when you find a few?
Yeah, good question. Basically, when I get a little restless in nature, it's not because I haven't voiced dissatisfaction with the current vendor. So the first thing I try to do is, like, if a vendor isn't living up to what I think we agreed to, I think it's important that you have that discussion where you say, "Hey, I'm not feeling the love. This is what you should be reviewing their relationship and their performance, right? But by the same token, it's just like any other relationship. You've got to have a two-way communication, right? It can't just be because the vendor doesn't want to get cut. They don't want to get a 30-day notice in the mail or whatever. So it's easier and better, in my experience, to try to get the performance of that vendor back so that you're both in line. So, but let's presuppose that tried that, it didn't work. And so you're like, okay, I need to look out there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there are so many resources now where we can go online. We can go to Dealership News. We can go to some other electronic websites and media sites and stuff like that to compare and look at vendors out there. I rely heavily on my peers. So from a general manager standpoint, knowing that there are other men and women out there that are in my chair, I like to pick up the phone and just call them and say, hey, I'm looking, for something like you said in the HR or whatever, it doesn't matter. Who do you guys use and why? And then get their recommendation, because if it's one thing for somebody to tell me how great they are, it's another for a third party to tell me, somebody that I know and trust. Yeah. So, hey, I know Kelly. I like Kelly. I trust his opinion. If he tells me that ABC company is good for HR solutions, then I'm going to listen, right? Sure. I'm going to take because you're fighting the same battles that I am every day as a GM sitting in the chair. So I really like to do that because Lord knows we get enough pitches from the other side in.
That's my next question. How likely are you to respond to cold calling vendors, trying to catch your attention? Or alternatively, what's the best way to contact a general manager?
So in my opinion, I haven't been in their position, but the ones that are obviously, just like anything else, the ones that are respectful, that are not too intrusive. The worst, in my mind, there's a kind of the worst, and I remember this from a couple of years ago. I had a guy who was they were starting a new magazine, and he was selling advertising for the magazine. And on the last day of the month, he showed up in my dealership, and I was in the middle of a couple of things because it's the last day of the month, and he was demanding the receptionist 5 minutes of my time. And it was like, I kept resisting. I had some other stuff that was going on, and the receptionist came and she's like, this guy just won't, he just will not leave me alone or whatever. And so I broke away, and I went out to this guy and I said, I introduced myself, and he's like, I just need 5 minutes of your time because this magazine's going to blow it up and we're going to blah, 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 blah. And I said, not only, am I not going to give you 5 minutes of my time today because I don't think what you're doing is respectful of my time. I said, I can guarantee you I'm not going to take your pitch on the first day of the month or when I'm less busy, because I just didn't like the way that you approached it and the fact that you were just, not very nice to the receptionist. He was just rude to her and stuff like that. So obviously that's the wrong approach. The cold calls, I screen, my receptionist is going to answer the phone and find out who it is. But then also you get the solicitations, like I'm on LinkedIn, like everybody else is, and I'll connect with just about anybody. It doesn't matter. But I don't like it when it's like I connect with you, and then the first thing you do is send me a message back, say, hey, I've got the #1 chat solution on the planet, and click here to learn more. It's like, it's like walking into a bar and immediately trying to take somebody home or something like that. It's like, get to know me first, get to know my business, find out a little bit about my store. What is it that makes Lexus and Milwaukee tick? I'd love a couple minutes of your time with the challenges that you face in the HR world or whatever, something like that, where it's like, we can start a conversation, we can start a relationship. We may or may not do business together, but at least it's like they actually show some interest in my business, not just, hey, I'm here to sell you something. I consider every one of my vendors a partner, in the sense that I'm choosing to do business with you. You're choosing to do business with me so that we can both do more business.
Sure.
And so those people that approach it from that standpoint, I'm much more likely to do business with them.
Yeah, I know. I've been solicited like that, where, all right, I'll take the connect, and then boom, I get hit immediately. It's like, that's not really how you do it. Because you are so experienced at dealing with vendors. Let's play word association. This is a relatively short podcast, folks. We just want the people to get to know Dan Kommeth over here, and we're thrilled to have you because of your experience as an executive GM. You've been doing it a long time. So word association is something that I think we're going to enjoy. I'm going to mention a word or phrase, and I want your off-the-cuff response. It could be maybe a vendor comes to mind or your first instinct.
Okay.
So first word is CRM.
The lifeblood of any dealership.
Website.
Has to be congruent with the showroom and the dealership experience.
Chat tools.
Something that I didn't believe in their efficacy a few years ago, but now see how large of a role they play in our day-to-day business.
Direct and organic traffic.
Elusive, but important.
We'll have a conversation about that soon. Third-party classified sites.
Overpriced.
Interesting. Digital retailing.
All digital, or all retailing is digital retailing now.
Digital retailing is there. Okay, let's break it down to this. How are you currently approaching what the new fangled digital retailing is? What % of your sales are completed strictly online? I think that's what it basically is. It's trying to get this stuff done without contacting a salesperson.
Yeah, I had a blog post that I wrote about this, about digital retailing, where I think that it's the number of people that never visit the dealership is very small right now. That number will grow. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it will grow to a majority of the transactions. I think still people value the one-on-one personal connection with people. So I think that there is that niche that is there, but truly not stepping foot in the dealership, that will just become a slice of the pie, you know, and could it help us grow the pie? Sure. But I think it's just going to be, some people will choose to transact business that way on there. But I mean, when I got in the business, I mean, we didn't even have websites. We didn't have, we didn't have chat tools. We didn't have all that stuff. Everything was one-on-one, and stuff. So for somebody like me, where it's quickly aging, I've had to adapt and realize where it's like, this is how some consumers shop, like Carvana. We'll use that as an example.
Right.
In terms of that, does everybody want to buy a car out of a vending machine? No. Do some people? Apparently, otherwise they wouldn't be selling cars.
Yeah.
Right. They're, put their profitability to the side. But so from a business model standpoint, Ernie Garcia has shown that there is a segment of the population that wants to buy cars that way. So what does that tell me as a quote unquote brick and mortar retailer? Well, there's no reason why we can't do the same thing. I can be, if you want to deal one-on-one in person, we can do it that way. If you never want to step foot in the dealership, I can do it that way. As the retailer, I have to be adaptable to how the consumer wants to shop and buy the car.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the numbers that I'm getting are between 3 and at the most 8% are going through I'd say that's pretty consistent. We've got, I actually was just on the phone with a customer from Florida before we got here. She's never going to come here. She, found it's a pre-owned car. She found it online. So she's, wiring the money. We have a third-party company we use to do, to verify identity, because obviously identity fraud, we don't need that. Florida especially.
Yeah. So, but we have a third party that verifies who the customer is, who they say they are, and that we're the dealership that we say we are. And then we have a shipping company. And I mean, we had, a couple of transactions in Texas. We had Nevada, Utah, Montana. It's South Carolina. So it's really, those, I put those in the digital category too, because they're never going to step foot here. So yeah, but I'd say if I had to peg a number on it, like 5% would be good.
It's right in the middle there. What's in your crystal ball for 2020?
I think that really, I don't know why so many are pessimistic. I'm an optimist by nature. I think that from a new car standpoint, when we have a SAR that's anywhere in that 16 to 17 million unit range, it's a healthy. That's healthy. Now you can debate, you can get in all sorts of side debates about fleet and the other stuff there, but I think that's a healthy industry. I think really in terms of from a dealership perspective, I'm always looking to get better at used cars, and I'm always looking to get better in fixed operations. But I think that the dealers that are adaptable, like I said before, the dealers that are adaptable that will do business the way that customers want to do business are going to be the ones that succeed. So you're going to see more and more dealerships where guys are going to sell their stores when they realize they don't want to tackle those hurdles. If they want to do things the old school way, those dealerships, it'll just continue to go down, 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 down. Other people will buy those stores, and the industry will continue to change and adapt. But I'm optimistic. I think this is the greatest business in the world. I love cars. I love people. So they marry themselves nicely in the retail automotive industry. So I think it's just for those who enjoy that type of interaction with people and cars, I think it's, the future is very bright.
Well, I wish you all the greatest of luck, and looking forward to working with you in 2020. Hey, high quality guy, selling a high quality product in Lexus, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. I'm looking forward to it as well.
The Iceman, Dan Kommeth, GM. You are the man. You are a new blogger. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Take care.